One of the most well-known families in Hollywood is undoubtedly Beyoncé's. But if you've been paying attention, you know that the Beyoncés have at least as much drama as the Kardashians in terms of cheating rumors. Divorces, baby mama turmoil, and an abandoned son, yes, there is a lot going on. And rumor has it that Solange and her father do not get along. There is a lot to analyze here because Matthew and Chow have a delicate relationship. Was Matthew actually leaking information about Solange to the media when you saw Beyoncé? Matthew is aware of this, and they don't really agree on much. What did you think of Solange, Jay-Z, and the security in the elevator thumping? I have to admit, I laughed hysterically. If you know Solange, you know that she has a reputation for being a firecracker. However, not many people are aware of the fact that Solange wasn't always the sophisticated adult she is today. As a young child, she struggled to stay out of trouble and could hardly stay awake. I'm not going to say that Matthew was a deadbeat or anything like that, but Solange had to earn his attention, which probably explains why she was always getting into trouble. Matthew focused all of his energy on Beyoncé, who was obviously his favorite child. He started pushing Bee to be a superstar by putting her in training from a very young age. Although Matthew handled this poorly, at least their mother did. Tina was smart enough to try to get Solange a lot of help early on before things got really bad. Tina revealed that she got Solange into therapy to help her deal with the pressure that came with being Beyoncé's little sister. She said it was tough. She was 5 years younger than Beyoncé, and Beyoncé was the little superstar in our city. So I took them to counseling so that the counselor could help Beyoncé be more sensitive to Solange, because she couldn't stand her for a minute when they were little. But it made Beyoncé more sensitive to who her sister was and what Solange had to deal with. Because of her, luckily for Solange, she grew out of her troublesome days. And it was all thanks to her mom. And no thanks to her dad, because all he really cared for was making Beyoncé a superstar, even if it came at the expense of his other daughter's childhood. So I don't think it's all that surprising that she has had a good relationship with her mom. But she stays away from her dad anyway, as Solange grew. Her relationship with her father changed. But it didn't exactly improve by the time she was in high school. Destiny's Child, Beyoncé's girl group, was already extremely well known and only continued to grow. Matthew was their manager, and when Solange got to high school, Matthew decided to have her join Destiny's Child. But she refused because she wanted to do her own thing. Instead, I always wanted Solange to be a member of Destiny's Child. She just never wanted to be one. At first it felt like Matthew was trying to make her into another Beyoncé, which didn't make it easier that she was also getting compared by outsiders. As well, she addressed this in her song, God-Given Name, where she said, "I'm not becoming expectations, I'm not her." And never will be two girls gone in different directions, striving towards the same galaxy. Let my starlight shine on its own. No, I'm no sister. I'm just my God-given name. She had been living in Beyoncé's shadow for such a long time that it only made sense that she wanted to pave her way and go her own way. The music gene obviously ran in the family because she also decided to join the industry and become a singer. But when she wanted to start her career, her father did not take her seriously. Remember how Matthew gave Beyoncé all the necessary support she needed in the early days of her career, to the point where he pretty much ignored Solange and left her feeling neglected. Well, he didn't exactly offer the same support to Solange when she started her career. Maybe he was too busy focusing on Beyoncé and didn't have the time to manage another career. Maybe he didn't believe that Solange could hit it big in the industry. Or maybe he was just still salty that she refused to join Destiny's Child. We don't know why, but what we do know is that he didn't support her the way he supported Beyoncé. People believe that this is the reason that Solange's career is not as big as Beyoncé's now. Don't get me wrong. Even though she is just as talented as Beyoncé, many people have claimed over the years that the only reason Beyoncé is more successful is because her father gave his all to her career. In fact, people have left comments about Solange being the more talented sister, saying things like hot take ass. But beyond his career is much bigger, and there are still people out there who only know Solange as Beyonce's sister. Sorry, but Solange is incomparably more skilled than Beyonce, and I'm just going to say it. Solange produces better music than Beyonce. This family tries to keep everything as private as possible, but let's not forget that Matthew constantly spills major tea about their family and constantly reveals family issues that should have been kept in private. For instance, do you remember the infamous elevator fight between Solange and Jay-Z? Well, after that incident, Beyonce appeared on the scene. I think by this point, we're all beginning to understand why she would harbor resentment. The most crucial thing, according to Jay-Z and Solange's message, is that our family has overcome it. Jay and Solange both take responsibility for what happened. They acknowledge their parts in the private dispute that was made public. They have apologized to one another, and we are now moving forward as a united family. They didn't say any more, but Matthew went on the Wendy show and talked about it. Beyonce is a very private person, but when you saw her with Jay-Z, Solange, and security in the elevator, what was your reaction? I have to admit that I laughed hysterically, because if you know Solange, that's the meal that's the lines. You just never know what you're gonna get. Firecracker, don't know where she get that from. This was embarrassing for Solange, because she hates it when people speak about her private business. So it makes sense why her relationship is not really balanced with her father. But to her credit, she did try to fix their relationship and make things better. She revealed in an interview that she had reached out to him, saying to sort out my adolescent and young adult years, there was still so much I needed to know. Because our relationship was not always very good. It's still very much a work in progress. But I think I have a much clearer idea of the trauma that he experienced and how it felt like it was then generationally passed on to me, both kind of existing in the white spaces as an only and how much that can really shape and mold your experience of the world, race, and identity. So Matthew had a second chance, but he blew it again when he cheated on Tina. He hadn't allegedly been cheating on her the entire marriage, but it got out of hand in 2009 when he was exposed for fathering a child outside their marriage with a woman named Alexandra Wright. Tina was heartbroken and filed for divorce. But she eventually decided to take him back, but less than a year later, he had another child outside of their marriage. Tina was done with him after that, and she filed for divorce. And Beyonce and Solange also kind of divorced their dad. In a way, if you get what I'm saying, they distanced themselves from him. Especially Solange, she was just starting to fix things with Matthew, but he had hurt her mom. And that was the final straw for her. However, it wasn't this one thing that made her finally snap, because it was years of resentment that built up and exploded. It's been years since then. And Solange is still holding on to the grudges because she barely acknowledges her father. And once one is broken, it's never fixed in the same way again. I feel like Solange is determined to protect her peace, keep her distance from Matthew, and hold on to the grudge until the end of time. But do you guys think that Solange is doing the right thing here? Or do you think that she should give Matthew another chance to prove himself and fix their relationship? Let me know what you think, then check out this next video. Foreign Home.